big success in what he's doing, in order that he will continue to have such passion and to continue all the good work that he does. Amen. Before we get into the shiur of the week, I want to speak a couple of minutes about something very, very important. We know what the Zohar Kadosh says, that on the day of the Hilullah, and we spoke about this last week, I'm not going to repeat it, don't worry, about the power that the tzaddik has on the day of his Hilullah. That on the day of his Hilullah, he has extra power to grant, to bring, to bless anyone that comes forward and asks. The tzaddik has that strength to grant. But the Zohar Kadosh also says that 3 days before the Hilullah, the day of the Hilullah itself, and 3 days after, which comes to a total of 7 days around the Hilullah of the tzaddik has the exact same strength. That the tzaddik can act in the exact same way. That if on the day of the Hilullah we light candles and we all run to grab the opportunity to bring blessing down from the tzaddik, the 3 weeks, the 3 days before, 3 days after, it's the exact same thing. So today, Rabotai, we officially start the 3 days. Actually, yesterday we officially started. So it's in the 3 days of the Hilullah of the tzaddik, my great grandfather Rabbi Pinto. Rabbi Eden. Now Rabbi Eden, Rabotai, always when I speak about Rabbi Eden, it's hard to describe him, because Rabotai, he was not a tzaddik. To say he's a tzaddik is making him small. Rabbi Eden, if we look at it, even in his picture, we have one picture of Rabbi Eden, and when you look at his picture, your body starts to shake. To say that Rabbi Eden was just a tzaddik is mamash, it's a shame to say that. Rabbi Eden was a malach. He was like an angel. The stories that exist about Rabbi Eden are incredible. For everyone to know where is Rabbi Eden in the Pinto family, because the Pinto family is such a big family, Baruch Hashem. It's very simple. You have my father, Rabbi Yaakov, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give him refuah shelema, amen, ken yirah tzom b'ezrat Hashem. His father, Rabbi Moshe Pinto. Rabbi Moshe's father, Rabbi Pinto II. And Rabbi Pinto II's father is who? Rabbi Eden. That he was actually the son of the first Rabbi Pinto, the son of the first Rabbi Pinto, Hagadol, and he was the father to the Rabbi Pinto II. So Abotai, tomorrow, B'at Hashem, we're going to be doing an Hilullah. I invite everyone, B'at Hashem, to join us. It's going to be at Rabbi Daniel Alon's house. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to speak about the neshama of Rabbi Eden, and we actually know where his neshama comes from, because Rabbi Pinto at his Brit Milah told the secret of whose neshama came back in his son, and whose Gilgul he is. So we know who he is, and I'm not going to tell you tonight. So tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem, whoever wants to come, we're going to speak about Rabbi Eden, who he was, all the great stories that he had, all the miracles that he did. But don't worry about it, I'm going to speak about one little small story before we get into our class, just to give a little bit of a light of who Rabbi Eden was. It said Rabotai that Rabbi Eden had one thing he was very strict on. A person's word. That a person's word for Rabbi Eden was the most important thing. If you say something, you have to do it. It was not a balance of maybe you can do this, delay it. Rabbi Eden, if you told him something, you do it. If you don't do it, that's how he has books of stories. All the people that didn't do what they promised, Hashem Yirachem. It was Ratzon Yavi said, it's the Torah of the Tzaddik stands with the Tzaddik. It said that every single Pesach, Rabbi Eden had a custom where he would bake his matzot himself. The matzot, what you eat on Pesach, the bread of Pesach, he would bake it. And he made a deal with the big factory, the big bakery of the city, that every single year, the day before Pesach, the baker closes his bakery, empties out the kitchen, and gives the kitchen to Rabbi Eden for Rabbi Eden to bake the matzot for the Chag. One year, Rabbi Eden, the day came to go start baking the matzot. He was excited, he was happy. He said, now we can go back to Hashem, I'm going to get involved in this big mitzvah of preparing the preparation for the mitzvah. Took all his utensils, took his bags, and he went to the bakery. When he arrived at the bakery, he sees the baker. What is he doing? He's baking matzot. So Rabbi Eden said, I don't understand. I thought we had an arrangement that every year, the day before Pesach, it's the bakery's mine. I do my matzot in it. So the bakery said, Rav, come back next year. This year we're busy. said that Rabbi Eden, when he heard this news, he had tears coming down from his eyes. He said, how am I going to go through a Pesach with matzot that I didn't bake myself? And we know that the matzot, there's big importance in the Kabbalah of how to do the matzot, what kavanah to do when you're baking the matzot. Mamash, it's something that is very big. It's another level. So Rabbi Eden was crying. He said, how can this man give me such pain, such sorrow the day before Pesach? Rabbi Eden turned around with his tears, rubbed his tears, and he started to walk home. He said that a minute later, when Rabbi Eden turned around to walk home, the baker witnesses that he was baking, and suddenly, he says the fire from the oven didn't start to come out. He said it came out like it was a creature. And the fire, in one moment, started to take hold on the entire bakery. That the entire bakery, in a matter of seconds, got fire from the oven to the ceiling. The baker runs up to the bakery. He looks. He says, "This fire was not normal. All my life, all the work that I worked my entire life is in this bakery. In a matter of a couple of seconds, it all got caught on fire." He understood that the fire was not natural. And he thought to himself, he said, maybe it was because I brought sorrow, I brought pain to the son of the Chacham, the son of the Tzaddik. So he said, I have to go run to Rabbi Eden to ask Mechila. So it said that he ran after Rabbi Eden and he caught Rabbi Eden and he was begging Mechila, begging Rabbi Eden to forgive him. And Rabbi Eden forgave him. He said, but next time, when you tell me something and you give me your word, you have to keep your word. The baker witnesses, and this is a story that my grandfather writes in his book, that when the baker turned around and went back to his bakery, what happened to his bakery? The fire didn't touch anything. The fire disappeared and the bakery was left clean. The baker witnesses that only one thing got burnt. 5 matzot that he baked in the oven, they got black. Everything else, nothing touched it. My father remembers as a kid in Morocco that any time they would walk to the Beit Knesset with Rabbi Moshe, my grandfather would point at the bakery and say, that's the bakery that my grandfather did the miracle with. Because that bakery burnt down to ashes and it's the same walls. But nothing ever happened to it. That Abatai was Rabbi Eden. May his merit protect us all, give us bracha and tzlacha in everything we do. Aharon always finds something to. May the merit of Rabbi Eden, Hashem, bless us all. We have a lot of young people there, Hashem, with his merit. May we all, Hashem, have bracha and tzlacha. Where everyone, Hashem, here find the zivug. And Bezat Hashem, only good news to you. Amen. And now, like, as we know, 2 days ago, we did the Tzom of what Tzom? Tisha B'Av. A lot of people after Tisha B'Av, what were they talking about? The fact that they fasted, the fact that for 25 hours they didn't eat. Which is, for me, it's funny. I see it as something that is funny. And they were always, they're talking about food. So I said, you know what? Food is a part of our morning. Let's talk about food. So everyone thinks of food as something that is very simple. As it's something that we eat. We do bracha, that's it. But actually, Rabotai, food is a very, very deep teaching that today, we're going to focus on food. And how can one achieve not only mitzvot, not only olam haba, to build his next world, Parasha, shefa, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu grant him anything he prays for with one thing, through the food. Through the food that we eat, we can achieve all that. And today we're going to speak about that. You know, but there's a big question in the Kabbalah. That it's written in all the books of Kabbalah. We say that food is a material, is something that is spiritual or physical. It's a physical food. Nachon? Food is there's nothing spiritual in food. We take it, we eat it, our body receives nutrients from it. Nikuda, that's it. But all the Mekubalim ask a question. If food is something physical, how is the neshama relying on the food? Because we know if a man does not eat food for a week, what's going to happen to him? His neshama will be forced to go up. So actually a man's neshama relies on something physical. A neshama, which is something completely spiritual, needs to rely on a physical matter. How does that work? If we say food is physical, then it only supports physical. If we say food is spiritual, it's not, but if someone wants to say food is spiritual, then it only should support something that is spiritual. But how come they both lean on one another? That the food, the neshama is dependent on the food. And that, Abotai, is what we're going to explain about this. We know, Abotai, and I want everyone to remember this question, and we're going to get to that question afterwards. We know, Abotai, that every single day that the world exists, the Zohar HaKadosh says that every moment is considered to be the moment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates the world. Meaning in this very moment that we just lived, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. What does that mean? That the fact that the world exists is the effect of HaKadosh Baruch Hu holding the existence. That every moment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps the world in a position where it is now, it is as if He is creating it. For example, I'm picking up this book, nachon? Now this book is in the air. I picked it up, I did an action in the beginning, and now it's in the air. If I let go of the book, what's going to happen to it? It's going to return to its original state. That in order for it to be continuing in there, it's not just picking it up, but also holding it in the air. And that is exactly how the world is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, He picked up the world, created it, but in order for the world to stay in its place, He needs to constantly give it life. That He needs to constantly give the material life in order to exist. That nothing could exist without HaKadosh Baruch Hu feeding it constant life. And that's why we say about the Sfirot, that a hand doesn't move without receiving life from one of the Sfirot. We know there are 10 Sfirot. Every body part is connected to a different Sfira. What did we teach? What did we say? That a hand, for example, the right hand, is what? Chesed. That the hand cannot move for a mitzvah or for a bad deed without it receiving light, without it receiving life. That in order for anything to exist, it needs to receive constant life, constant strength that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sending. So if the world is like that, why couldn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu create the world without food? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is already constantly giving our bodies life to exist. So why couldn't He create our bodies in a way where food is not something that is needed? The fact that we are alive is the result of Hashem sending down life. So why can't He send down life without food? What is the point of that? If we say that every moment HaKadosh Baruch Hu is constantly feeding us, then create a man with no need for food. Isn't that something that is simple? So what is the answer to that? So Rabbi Pinto says something amazing, which Rabbi Pinto, I don't know if anyone remembered, we spoke about his Ilula a few weeks ago. Rabbi Pinto says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created food for one reason: to keep contact with man. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that if He was to create man in a situation that he does not need food, we would forget the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is feeding us life. The same way that how many people here in this room thought this year that the fact that they are existing is the result of Hashem feeding us life? How many people? Did anyone think like that about? I know. I'm asking. Lift your hand. No, two. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu feeds us life every day, but it's the nature of a man to forget it. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu was to create us in a way that food was not something that was needed, we would never turn our head to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That everything that a man would succeed, he would say, I succeeded with my power. That the fact that I'm alive because I have strength, because I have knowledge, because I did so. Not because HaKadosh Baruch Hu fed me that life. That essentially, Rabotai, the food is what? The food is what gives man an opportunity to look up to the sky and to always be reminded in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because the fact that every day you need food and every hour you're chasing after the food, when you receive it, you say, who gave it to me? Who sent this food to me? And when you need it, what do? You pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the one that sent me the food, I need food. That essentially the food is our connection with Hashem. It's what keeps us in a place where we can always look up to the sky and pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's our gift. And that's why, Rabotai, we say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, one of the punishments of the snake, we know the snake, what did the snake do? He caused Chava and Adam to sin. Adam and Eve to sin. What's the punishment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the snake? That it says that in the Zohar Kadosh, in the Yalkut Shimoni, that the snake's punishment is that everything that he eats, no matter what he eats, it could be a book, not the Zohar, it could be a bottle, it could be a rat, it could be a bird, it could be another snake. No matter what he eats, what does he taste?
Ash.
He tastes ash, dirt. That he could eat dirt, he can actually eat dirt and frame its food, because everything tastes the same. Rabbi Pinto took a coin and said, I don't understand, how is that a punishment? That's the biggest gift that one can receive. That anywhere that the snake looks, he finds food. That no matter what he eats, he's satisfied. Because everything tastes the same. Rabbi Pinto took a coin and says, no. That is actually the punishment of the snake. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants nothing to do with the snake. He wants the snake to never look up to Hashem and to talk to Hashem. He wants the snake that anywhere where the snake turns his head, what will he find? He will find food. That the snake will have no need, no worry of praying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No need, nothing that has to do with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem says, me and the snake, I want to cut all contact. That actually, I'll tell you, the concept of the food is a part of the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the food as a blessing, as a connection to Hashem. Where it's even said, Rabotai, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu feared, when he created Adam HaRishon, that Adam HaRishon will not eat. Because he said that the neshama is so pure in Adam HaRishon, and first, before the sin, before everything, that man will be born and have no urge to eat. The neshama was so pure, it was so strong. The neshama controlled the body, not vice versa. And if Adam would not eat, what would happen to him? What would happen to him? We know about that. We all fasted, we all know. He would die. So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? Zohar Kadosh says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu went, took an angel. This angel was an angel that had, this is what the word of the Zohar, Achiza b'Kedusha. This angel was a part of the Kedusha. That he took this angel and he said, you are the angel that will be in charge of desire. What is the name of that angel? Samael. That he will be in charge of the desire of the man. That he will cause a person to go and to have the urge to eat. To go and to have the urge to drink. That the Zohar Kadosh says that if Samael was not a part of our lives, our stomach, our stomach, not even our mind, our stomach would not be able to digest the food. Because our stomach would say, I don't want this. Take it out. And the food would simply go in, and the stomach would not touch it. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually put Samael as the angel, as the minister, as the one that will be in charge to keep us desire, in order that we will go and chase after food. To go and chase after the things that give our body life. That actually that is the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is something amazing. The sad thing that Samael went crooked and he sinned himself and he went out of his way. And he ended up, he uses that desire, he uses his position in Shamayim to take us to different places, to take us to bad places. So Abutai, we thought about the core of food and what food is. How does that answer our question? How does the body rely on the neshama? How does food rely on the neshama? How does the neshama rely on food and not vice versa? That doesn't answer the question. So Abutai, we know that Olam Asya, what world are we on, Abutai? We are on Olam Asya. 4 worlds: Atzilut, Beriah, Yetzirah, Asya. The world of Asya is built from 4 different sources of life. There are 4 lives that exist on Asya. The first life, Domim. What is Domim? It's objects like that have no light, like a rock. Rock, earth. What's the name of that for that? No, it's not. I don't want to use the word life. You'll understand. What's the word? Inanimate. Inanimate?
Yeah.
That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, inanimate. So there are 4 different sources of life. One inanimate object, like rock, like sand, like metal, which have life in them, and I'll explain to you why they have life in them, to prove that they have life in them, that they're not just inanimate with no life. And if you take dirt, and you put a seed in it, what happens? A tree can grow. You put a seed with no dirt, could a tree grow? No. The fact that metal rots and you can kill metal with specific conditions, it means that even in the inanimate objects there is life. That the Zohar Kadosh says where the earth is like the female and the seed is like the male. But when both of them come together, two sources of life, they're at different levels, but they are both life. When they both come together, something else could come out. A third result could come out. So the first is inanimate, like sand, like stones, like metal, anything like that. The second is what? Tzomeach. What is tzomeach? Plants, trees, anything that grows, flowers, fruits, vegetables. That is the second source of life, creation of life that exists in Olam HaAsiyah. What is Olam HaAsiyah, Rabotai, again? It's this world, it's the physical world that we live in. The third is what? Chai. Chai is anything that is alive. That all the animals, all the bugs, anything that is alive goes under the category of what? Of chai, living creature. And the fourth is what? Medaber, one who talks, one who has a speech. Which who has speech in all the creations? Adam HaRishon and the snake used to. The snake used to be the other creation that had speech, but Adam HaRishon. That Adam HaRishon is the only creation that has speech. And all these four creations of life, they all hold life, but only one holds something spiritual. And that is at least before the sin of Adam HaRishon. What is that? Adam, man. That man is the only creation that holds a spirituality, a neshama. That in all four they hold life, but not spirituality. That you cannot compare between life and neshama. Zohar Kadosh says that, and we even said this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks ago, when we spoke about when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created all the animals. And there we said that after Hashem created all the animals, the angels came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And they told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you created creations that are what? That are without knowledge. Why? Because they have no knowledge of the bottom world, and no knowledge of no chokhmah tachtona, no chokhmah eluna. That these are creations that with a couple of pebbles, you can lead them to their death. Because we know all the animals were created before man. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? He went to Gan Eden, he went to the tree of life, grabbed the neshama, came down to the world. That essentially the only piece of spirituality that existed in this world was what? The neshama of Adam. That Adam was the only holder of a neshama, of a spiritual source. That neshama was a pure neshama, was a neshama that it held all the spirituality. Zohar Kadosh says, when Adam HaRishon sinned, what did he do in that very moment? His neshama got rotten. His neshama broke apart. That pieces of his neshama, sparks of his neshama, got spread out to where? To all the four sources of life. That the animals now, that the trees, that even the inanimate, that all those four sources of life have sparks of the neshama of Adam HaRishon. That our job is to do what? Is to take physical material, to bring it to a higher level of Kedusha, and by doing that, what are we doing? We're essentially separating. You take something physical, you take its spark, its piece of the neshama that exists that fell from Adam HaRishon, and you separate it from the material of this world. And that Abotai is essentially tikkun. All the mitzvot that we do, if it's tefillin, all this, the physical things that we turn into Kedusha, we are actually separating its spark. And that is why Rabotai, the Zohar Kadosh says, that the Reshaim that use material only for their benefit, and they take material things and use it only for themselves, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do to them? He brings them back begilgul as what? As those other three sources of life. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you continued in the path of the sin of Adam, where Adam HaRishon sinned and caused his neshama to break to pieces, into sparks to fall to all the other material objects. And instead of collecting those sparks, of cleaning the material from the spiritual, you chose to just use its physical and to leave its spiritual, to not bring the physical to a higher level, but to bring it even to a lower level, you will come back in as a gilgul, as what? As chas v'shalom, an animal, where it says that even that we said a couple of weeks, that's why we did the shurim in a specific order, in order that everything comes together. That a man that chas v'shalom speaks lashon hara comes back as what? As a dog. Why? Because a dog barks, and it's a dog that is barking. And we said what Arizal says, that a person that comes back as a neshama, as an animal, what does he remember? He remembers his previous gilgulim. He remembers all the gilgulim that he was in the past. That he could have been a king before, and now he's stuck in what? In a body of a dog. And that's even worse, chas v'shalom. It's a rasha that even went to a lower level, comes back into what level? Of a tree, of a fruit, or worse, a rock, where the Torah says a rock will scream and no one will hear. That neshama could be stuck in a rock, praying, begging for a tikkun, for a reparation, but no one can hear the screams of a rock. And that, Abotai, is the concept of the tikkun, of the separation of the sparks and this physical. That everything we do in life, we are essentially taking its physical, separating it from its spark, and that spark we absorb for ourselves. And that is how, Abotai, we're able to understand the concept of eating. When a person eats, there are two pieces that come into his mouth. One side is what? Physical, that gives his body food. But what is the other thing that he's absorbing? A spark. That spark serves as what? As food for his neshama. That actually when you eat, it's not just your body eating, it's what? It's your neshama and your body both taking life at the same time. That if you stop eating, what are you going to do? You're going to starve your neshama too. And if you starve your neshama, chas v'shalom, what's going to happen? Your neshama could will go up and not have be sent out of this world. That a person's tikkun, that a person's reparation, that a person feeds his neshama by eating, and when he takes such food and separates it. It's like a blender, or even like a sifter. When you sift sand, for example, it has diamond inside. What are you doing? You take a big bucket of sand, you pour it through a sifter, all the sand comes down, what stays? All the big diamonds, all the precious stones. That we take in food to break it down, to send all the physical out, and to absorb all the spiritual, all the sparks for our neshama to have eat. And that's what the Zohar Kadosh says, where it says, Ashrei b'nei yoldei isha, merit to those who are born by a woman, that just by eating they build worlds in Shamayim. That just by sitting down and having pleasure of eating, they're able to build worlds. Why? Because every spark that they collect, where does it go? It goes up to Shamayim and acts as another piece of the puzzle of bringing the Geulah. That even when we sit down and the person he eats, and it's a completely, it's a food that gives him pleasure. By doing so, he brings the Geulah. So, Abotai, there are three different types of eating. And this is the three different types of eating that are very important for us to know. The first type of eating, Abotai, is the eating beisur. Eating in prohibition. That the person goes, he eats chas v'shalom not kasher, he eats something that was not cooked kasher, something that is not allowed from the beginning. A person like that, the Zohar Kadosh says, sofo leitgalgel bedomim. That the person that eats not kasher, his end will be what? That he will come back begilgul as in the same food that he's eating. That the same food that he's eating be'isur with isur, with prohibition, he will come back in that same form. The second type of eating is what? Be'eter. You're eating and you're allowed to eat. So, for example, you go, you take something kasher, and you do bracha on it. Everything is fine. Your body eats, and neshama eats. But there it stops. You have a mitzvah for doing a bracha. You have a mitzvah for doing bracha achona. But that's it. But then, Abotai, there is a third type of eating. That with this way of eating, The Zohar says that a person could first of all buy his olam haba, buy his place in the world to come. A person like that could reach wealth unimaginable. A person like that could strengthen his ta'ava, strengthen his desire in limud Torah. A person like that could achieve everything that he wants with this third type of eating. What is this third type of eating? 2 conditions. The first condition is that when we eat, what do we say? We have vadai, bracha, kasher. That is already obvious from the second type of eating. But before we eat the bracha, we have something in mind. And the Zohar Kadosh says that if you say it one time a day, and you have it in mind one time, that one time that you said it, that one time that you had it in mind, is already enough for you to be considered that you are doing it for that reason. And what is that? That one time a day you say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all what I eat because of you. Why? Because the fact that I'm eating is not to eat for pleasure, but I'm eating it to fix your world. That I'm eating to repair the world from the sin of Adam HaRishon. That whatever I eat, I have the intention to collect the sparks, to separate the physical and the spiritual, in order to send the sparks up to Shamayim. That when a person does that, the Zohar says that man is called a man ish chasadim, a man of kindness, because he's repairing the world of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A man like that is able to achieve, to bring sparks, to have in mind that everything that he eats is in the merit of collecting those sparks. He can sit down and eat from the morning to the night and he receives mitzvot from it. Because every time he puts something in his mouth, what is he doing? He's strengthening his emunah. He's a man of emunah, and he's cleaning the world. That is the first thing. And the second thing that a person should have in mind, and this Abotai will go on further for continuation of what I wanted this Parasha to be, is when we eat, we don't eat for our own pleasure. But we eat for what reason? We eat in order to have strength to do good. That a person is not eating in order to sit down and to have pleasure from the food that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him. But he's eating to have strength to go, to respect his parents, to kivud horim. He's eating in order to have strength to go to help someone that's in need. He's eating in order to have strength to go learn Torah. That everything he does, everything he eats, is in order to do something good. Every bite he takes is a preparation for mitzvah. Every bite he takes is a mitzvah on its own. That it's no longer food, but merit. The Zohar Kadosh says that a person that is able to lekadesh it ma'asav, what does that mean? To bring his day-to-day things that he does on a regular basis to a higher level of kedusha, he will reach big wealth. Why is that? Because, Abotai, it's something simple. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he gives a person, he gives him to his capacity. But when a person is able to take all what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him and use it in an instant moment, and take all what he gives him and put it in the right place in an instant moment, what is HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to do? He's going to add. All the food you eat, all the bracha that you receive in order to go buy your food, all the parasha that you receive in order to go buy your food, is done only for mitzvah. Because all what you're eating is to do good. So suddenly, all the bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you, it's not enough. So what is Hashem going to do? He's going to add, and add, and add. And this Rabotai is not just with food. It could be with anything in the world. It could be with, I'm buying a new car. I'm buying a new car so I can go fast to Beit Knesset. I'm buying a new car in order that whenever somebody will be in need, I will go and I will grab that mitzvah to help him with that new car. I'm going to buy shoes, and I'll give you the simplest example. I'm buying shoes to walk to shul. The shul is far and I need nice shoes to walk to shul. If those shoes are regular shoes, or they're already a mitzvah when you buy them, they already become mitzvah. Because you take something that is simple and you mekadesh it. You make it into something that is at a higher level of kedusha. So essentially, what are you doing? You are making yourself into a keli. You are making yourself into a vessel to receive. And that Abotai is a big problem. A lot of people, Abotai, come to me with a question. Say, I don't understand. I pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. all my heart, I ask and I ask and I ask. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why can't He give me what I'm asking for? A lot of people say, I don't understand. Well, I prayed. And because I prayed and HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't give it to me, then there's no point. Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu was really the creator, if I really had emunah, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the power to give me what I'm asking for, why didn't He just give it to me? And the answer, and this is what like I said, could be everything. It could be with zivug. Then a man sits down, he prays for zivug, he doesn't receive his zivug. Or with parasha, or with refuah, or with anything that a person could ask. And the answer to that, Rabotai, is he is not a keli. You need to be a vessel in order to receive. It's like, Rabotai, a light bulb. If I take a light bulb, that the home of the light bulb is 100 watts. Watts, that's how we call it. And I take a bulb of 500. Does it exist? 500, it's better. 500. And I put it inside the home. What will happen? It's going to explode. Why is that? Because the home of the light bulb is not big enough to take its capacity. The home of the light bulb is not a vessel to receive its power. So suddenly, even though that the 500 watt is so much more light and so much more beautiful and so much more at a higher level, you're not worthy of receiving it. It's all a matter, Rabotai, of being a vessel. Are we worthy to receive what we're asking for? If we are a vessel to receive what we are asking for, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu could give us all what we ask. It's a matter of becoming a vessel. It's a matter of making ourselves worthy of receiving. And that, Rabotai, like I said, could be with everything. The best example, Rabotai, that I give all the time is it's like a pipe. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has endless amount of water. So we're going to give an example of a man. And it has endless amounts of water. And he wants to transfer as much water as possible from one place to another. And he found a pipe that is a good pipe, that he sends down water and it reaches to its place, reaches to its goal. How much water can he pour into that pipe? As big as the pipe is. If the pipe is not big enough, he won't be able to pour in this amount of water. But if the pipe is very big, if it could take 1,000 gallons of water per second, he'll put 1,000 gallons of water per second. It's a matter of being a vessel. And especially, Rabotai, I see in this generation, it's the hardest thing when it comes to zivug. You see so many people, they sit and they pray and they pray and they pray and they pray, saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why aren't you sending my zivug? Maybe your zivug is at a higher level than you are. And you are not in the position, you are not in a situation, you are not a vessel to receive your zivug at that moment. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu pushes and pushes and pushes because you're not at the level to receive the bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to send you. That in order to receive bracha, we need to become vessel. How can we become vessel, Rabotai? By taking everything we do and by making it somehow b'kedusha, somehow b'mitzvah, somehow doing good with it. And the moment we're able to uplift everything we have in our lives to another level, Kadosh Baruch Hu could keep on adding and adding and adding and adding and adding, and it is endless. The person feels that he's searching for his mazal, he's praying, something is stuck, then fix it. If you feel that you are locked, then unlock it. Go up a level. You know, a lot of times when I open up the Zohar for people, a lot of the times, it speaks about single people, heights, and that they're not at the height to receive its prize. And each time the Zohar, it's different. The text speaks about different places. But all the time with young people, we see that the Zohar uses the words that you're not at the height in order to see what you're supposed to see or to achieve what you're supposed to achieve. That in order, Rabotai, to achieve everything, we need to bring ourselves to a higher level, uplift ourselves. If it's with Parasha, that we don't go to work in order to have money to do shtuyot. That you go to work to do what? To do Torah and mitzvot. That the person does not go to buy something in order for its simple meaning, but is actually doing it for a spiritual meaning. A person becomes a vessel to receive. And that, Rabotai, is the biggest thing that we can achieve. If we are a vessel to receive, we could achieve everything. That as long as we are in the position to receive the blessing, it's simple. A lot of people, they come to me and ask me, these are the people that are in the beginning of the Teshuvah. And they say, no, Rav, how come that the Goyim, they don't have all this Zohar teaching, all these things that I have to do to receive blessing? But still, you see Goyim that they are very successful. You see not Jewish people, they work, they make Parasha, they get married, they have happy lives. So why can't I do the same? How come I have to go and work so hard in order to reach that level? And the Goyim, it's the same. There's no vessel, there's no sparks, nothing. And that's a simple Abotay. The non-Jewish people, the Goyim, they work in the pattern of the Teva. They work in the rules of the Teva. It's like Lavdi, Mechila, that I'm saying this, it's Gemara, not me. Like I always say when I say, if you have a problem with it, argue with the bookshelf. The Gemara says that people that are not Jewish, they are judged and they are acted with in the same way that a Kadosh Baruch Hu act with an animal. Why? Because they don't have that piece of neshama, of spirituality that is above nature. All the nature doesn't have spirituality. As Jews, we are one step over. If we are one step over, we need to be a keli, a vessel to receive that blessing. And that, Abotai, Bezrat Hashem, is the shiur of tonight. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bezrat Hashem, Abotai, give us all bracha and atzlacha b'kol ma'aseh yadenu. May we all be a vessel to receive all what our heart wishes. If it's for panasa, if it's for refuah, if it's for zivug, if it's for simcha, if it's for anything in the world. If we are the vessel, and if we are walking in the path of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's no reason that we can't receive it. And that is where we're going to end. B'at Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu give everyone b'siyata d'shmaya gdola. May we all grow mala b'torah, b'mitzvot, b'ma'asim tovim. Amen. Before we finish, before we're going to get to our question and answers, I want to say Baruch Hashem. Before we get to our question, I would like to speak about something. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but it's very important that now we have half the week in front of us to know how we have to be. We mentioned Abotai, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, I'm going to say it, that once a year we all know, Sfirat HaOmer, that every week, 7 weeks, Sfartem Lachem, Sheva Shabbatot Temimot, 7 weeks, each one of the 7 weeks relate to one of the Sefirot. So the first week, Chesed, second week, Gvura, third week, Tiferet, and etc. Now, for the most people, that's the only time of the year when we know that we have 7 Shabbatot, 7 weeks. The person has that concept of having an entire week of kindness, or an entire week of Tiferet. But Arizal actually says that from Tisha B'Av until Rosh Hashanah, we have 7 Shabbatot, that each week we have that Sefirah, we have that divine attribute of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we can receive blessing from it. We could connect ourselves in order for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bless us. This week we are what? We are kindness. We are chesed. Next week is Gvura. But Abotai, this week we all need to have that mindset. This is what I say. We have the daily spark. I speak always about on Sunday about the concept of being kind. That if we want to receive kindness in our life and we want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be kind with us, what do we need to do? We need to be kind to others. Because in order to bring the blessing from that divine attribute of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what do we have to do? We have to connect to it. How do we connect to it? By walking in its path, by walking in its footsteps. And when we do that, we could connect ourselves. So this week, Abotai, I truly advise everyone to look for an act of kindness. There's so many times in the day, Abotai, where acts of kindness, they move left and right. And we miss them. But we need to grab them, Abotai. And this week, if a person is able to grab an act of kindness, if it's helping someone in need, if it's taking somebody that did you wrong and forgiving him, if it's doing anything with pure kindness, we will be able to achieve pure kindness in our life. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the pure kindness that we all wish to have in our life. Amen. Okay, about the questions. Ken.
So Rabbi, you mentioned that these inanimate objects, right? The soul can go into them. So how can we help them get there to? I don't know how we're.
So first of all, you'll see that even in the korbanot, if you look at the sacrifices, look, I'm going to go as far as the korbanot. Even in the korbanot, we know that there was one korban that what do we sacrifice on it? Salt. Why salt? We put salt. Why salt? Because salt is what? It is an inanimate, that's what we say, an inanimate object. That in everything there is a concept of tikkun. That even as far as Beit HaMikdash, they are already pushing and working on this concept of tikkun through doing through sacrificing salt, which is an inanimate object. Everything that the person has, he could bring it to another level. Everything. Anything material. This was what? A tree? No, let's look at something that is not... look at that stand. It's metal. Nachon? Complete simple metal. What is it doing? It's holding something that we were going to let Hashem spread Torah with it. So suddenly, its value is no longer the same. We look at the Sefer Torah. Its ink is inanimate. Inanimate? I don't know, again. Even its ink is inanimate. The box of the Sefer Torah, it's metal, it's gold. But when we take something that is physical and we bring it to a higher level of spirituality, we make it into what? Take it up another level. You can take your phone and watch a shiur Torah on it. Watch a shiur Torah on your phone. Suddenly your phone is, you have to start kissing it. You're going to start kissing your phone. People will love to do that. Somebody will hold the phone, everyone's going to go and to kiss the phone. That anything we can bring up to a level. Anything. It could be, like we said, metal, it could be stones, it could be water. When we do water, we do bracha. We bring it up. With everything. That's why we eat meat. It even said that until the generation of Noach, meat was not allowed to be eaten. Why? Because the neshamot did not get into animals yet. That the concept of the gilgulim of animals, the concept of the tikkun, of the sparks, did not enter animals yet. But only in the generation of Noach, it was worthy of starting to eat meat. Because we were able to start doing a tikkun. And that is why it's even said in the Zohar Kadosh that l'atid lavo, after 120 years, we won't eat food. There's nothing to fix. Nothing to repair. Food is the main source of reparation of the sparks.
What about animals that aren't kosher? Do they have a spark?
They have sparks, but their tikkun is different. So I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to cause me to say the story of my grandfather, of the lion. Oh no? Okay, so I'll say it. I'll say it. Because it sounded like you were trying to... I'll say it. I don't know if everyone knows the story. Did I say it in what I wanted to show you? No. Huh?
Not in the shiurim for the Zohar, but
it said, my father has a beautiful story that with my grandfather, Rabbi Moshe Pinto, that my father saw his father only twice from the age of 13. After the age of 13, he saw him twice. After twice, my grandfather already passed away. The first time that he saw him, because at the age of 13 he moved to London to go to the yeshiva, and he saw him twice. One time before his wedding, and one time when he was 15, another time was before his wedding. Rabbi Moshe, when he left 40 years he locked himself in the room for 40 years. When he left, they went to Eretz Israel. When he arrived to Eretz Israel, he said, I'm afraid that I'm about to leave this world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to punish me, because when I grow up, they're going to ask me, did you enjoy from the world that I gave you? And I'm going to tell them from the age of 18, I was locked in my house. I did not enjoy from it. So he said that the moment he got to Eretz Israel, he said, I have to go and travel the world. So Rabbi Moshe went on a 2-year trip. 6 months he did in France, 6 months it was in Canada, 6 months in New York, and 6 months in Los Angeles, in the valley. When he arrived to France, the first foot of the trip, my father, who lived in London at that time, he said it's an opportunity. London, France, short distance comparing to London and Israel. I'm going to go to London and see my father. So he called Rabbi Moshe and he told Rabbi Moshe, I'm coming to Abba, I'm coming to see you. He came to see him in France and they were happy. Rabbi Moshe came to my father and he told him, organize a group of people, 10 people, and we need to go see the lion. So my father is looking at Rabbi Moshe, at his father, locked himself in his room, in his house for 40 years. Now he wants to go see a lion. He said, Abba, why do you want to see a lion? He said, because all my life I never saw a lion. And I read always about lion. It says that when a lion roars, who won't be afraid? I want to see a lion before I leave this world. So Abba said, is that serious? You really want to go see a lion? He said, I want to go see a lion. My father said, okay. My grandfather was very strong. He was not, you couldn't tell him no, negotiate with him. What he said, whoever doesn't understand, look at any one of the Pinto which are Baruch Hashem alive and have Brahim, you'll understand. It was at another level of strength. They go organize a group and they traveled an hour, 45 minutes to the zoo. They got to the zoo and my father, it's also the first time that he's going to see a lion. But it's also the first time that they didn't see a giraffe, an elephant. It was all the animals in the zoo. In Eretz Israel, there was no zoo at that time, neither at Morocco. So when they arrived, my father took the map. He said, okay, let's go to the elephant. Let's go to the giraffe. My grandfather says, no, where's the lion? So he said, Abba, why do you want to see the lion? Let's see the giraffe. I said, no, I didn't see the lion yet. So my father said, but did you see the giraffe in your life? No. So let's go see the giraffe, then we'll go to see the lion. My grandfather said, no, I want to go see the lion now. No one could argue with him. They went to the place of the lion. Rabbi Moshe stood in front of the lion, and he was looking at the lion. After a few minutes, he goes into his pocket, pulls out a fruit, does Baruch Atah Hashem Ha'etz, Shechianu, finishes the fruit, does Bracha Achuna, throws out the pit, and says, okay, we go home now. So now my father said, you took us 45 minutes to drive, to come to the zoo, to stay 10 minutes, then to go back home. He said, there's nothing more to do here. We have to go home now. They started to walk towards the car and they see commotion. People in the zoo running. They said, what's happening? They grabbed one of the people that were running. They said, what happened? They said, the lion that is here for many years, for no reason, just died. So now everyone was shocked. My father said when they arrived to the car, you could take a knife and you could cut the silence with the knife. Everyone in the car, the 10 people that they brought, were in such shock, in such silence, that you can take a knife and cut the silence. They waited 45 minutes, not one word was exchanged. They arrived home, my father was young, he said, I don't care. I'm not going back to the yeshiva with his thought that my father killed the lion, he's not telling me why. So he says, I have to go to Rabbi Moshe and I have to squeeze from the answer. So he came to him and he told, Abba, why did you kill the lion? He said, I'm not telling. And Rabbi Moshe never said stories. Abba, tell me. Abba, tell me. And he pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. Till he said, you know what? I'll tell you. This morning when I woke up, I received, it was in Ruach HaKodesh, there's a lion that keeps on coming back in a Gilgul, in a reincarnation, as a lion, and his tikkun is to return in the body of a lion to hear one time Shechianu. That one time Shechianu needs to hear, that after that one time, the neshama will go up to its place. But this neshama has been coming 10, 20, several times back in the body of a lion. But what are the odds that someone's going to stand in front of a lion and say Shechianu? So when I received that this lion is here close to us, I said I have to save this neshama. So yes, the sparks do come to bodies of animals that are not kasher. But the tikkun are different. It's even said with Baal Shem Tov. There was a frog. That Baal Shem Tov was walking. 3 days he walked, and when he walked, he suddenly found a big frog that was in the desert. Baal Shem Tov was in his teaching. He was walking and teaching and studying, and he didn't realize for 3 days he started to walk. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in the middle of the forest. He looked down and he sees a big, big frog. He asked this big frog. He looked at him and he sees the big frog's talking. So Baal Shem Tov said, well, how are you talking? So the frog said, I one time was a big tzaddik, and I'm already 500 years coming back in the form of a frog in order to do a tikkun. He said, what was your sin? This maybe can also relate to eating. He says, one time, I didn't do netilat yadayim. For that one time that I didn't do netilat, wait. One time that I didn't do netilat yadayim, one time they put me back in the form of a frog, and I need someone to help me to repair me. So he said that it's impossible that for one time you don't do netilat yadayim, they're going to send you for 500 years of Gilgul. He says, no. The one time that I didn't do Netilat Yadayim, that was the beginning of me falling down in a bad path. That one first sin that I did was the beginning, but that caused me to not do a bracha, because I don't do Netilat Yadayim anymore, so I don't do a bracha either. Because I don't do bracha rishon, I don't do bracha achrona. Then already my emunah is already gone. Then I'm already eating, just stealing from Hashem. It's not food with bracha, I'm stealing. And I got from one sweat to another, but it all started from what? For one time I'm doing it Yadayim. No, Rabotai, next. The questions are going to be, answers are going to be shorter about Hashem.
What happens if you say a blessing over a food that you think is kosher, but it's not kosher?
Like what?
Like, remember when that event happened when one of the butcher shops was giving unkosher food and people were saying...
The Zohar brings a story, and I'm not going to say it because I promised that I'm going to, but the Zohar brings a story with the son, actually the father of Rabbi Yossimi Piccoli. That his father was a Rasha that owned a butcher shop. He would sell trefot. But unfortunately, it's bad. It's mamash bad. Because you're eating something that just... The people that ate it, they don't receive Chat Hashem anything bad from it, a sin, because they didn't know it was bad, miskini. They're b'shogeg. It's that person that receives all the makot.
The food you're eating is questionable.
Ma?
Food you're eating that kashrut is questionable.
What do you mean by kashrut? It's kosher, it's not kosher. It's like saying, are you Jewish? I'm half Jewish. This part is Jewish, this part is not. Or from here I'm Jewish, and from down I'm not Jewish anymore. What do you mean by questionable?
It's not black.
Huh?
It's not black.
Listen, it's kasher. If it's kasher, it's kasher. Now, if you don't eat tarashkacha, that's something else.
Or if there are rumors that it might not be as kosher as
That's already a political problem,
advertised.
and not. And we're not going. Let me see. I don't think that there's an answer for that. Ken Sadiq.
You said that the body needs food and it also feeds the neshama and keeps it from starving, correct?
Ken.
Well, does that mean that after the body passes away, the neshama goes to Shemayim? But does that mean that the neshama will still need to eat through some Shemayim?
The Zohar Kadosh says, first of all, amazing question. The Zohar Kadosh says, first of all, that it's something that is scary. And when you go up to Shammai, any food that you saw and didn't eat, Misharim could say, why didn't you eat it? That when you go and you see, the Zohar is not going to punish you for it, but the Zohar said that even when you see food and you don't eat it, they're going to tell you, why didn't you eat it? Because if you were to eat it, you would bring a reparation to whatever sparks that are in that food. That they're going to ask you, why didn't you eat it? That's number one. Number two, that's actually something amazing, that it says that the body tells the neshama, after 120 years, the body tells the neshama, why didn't you push me to eat more spiritual, just purely spiritual food, and not only material food? The body, do this, the body blames the neshama. That's what the Zohar Kadosh says. The body says, you fed me a lot of food, that yes, there's food with sparks and material, but why didn't you push me to eat not just physical? Why didn't you push me to chase spiritual? You, the neshama, has such a strength. Why didn't you pull me to more spiritual food? So the body does not, the neshama does not, we say that, what is the food of the neshamot? Miziva Shechina. Their light their food is the light of the Shekhinah that comes down. Okay.
So with this perspective, keeping this in mind, what about people who have eating disorders?
The Zohar Kadosh says that if a person is not able to buy meat for financial reasons, it's actually also a Rambam Pano. If he's not able to eat meat, or not able to buy meat, it means that his neshama is not supposed to repair meat. That if a person for some reason is not able to eat meat, his stomach, or he's not able to afford meat, it means that he's not able to repair the neshama or the sparks that are in meat. That some people can repair the sparks of neshama that goes in the meat, and some are only able to repair the sparks that fall into the somech, into the leaves, the thing that grow. So any position where HaKadosh Baruch Hu put you in, that's the position where you're supposed to walk in. To the point where if you don't have money to buy meat, it means that you're not supposed to eat. You're not supposed to buy meat. To that level, it says.
When Hashem brings somebody back from the world as a Gibul, and let's say he has to fix, let's say the Nitzilat Yadayim, right? And he comes down and he fixes Nitzilat Yadayim, but he does many other sins. How at the end of the day are we supposed to come and make one soul if he keeps on doing sins? Because nobody's perfect. Nobody's gonna
You
always.
should have asked a different question. You should have asked something else. You should have said, and this is what everyone has been asking, and a lot of people ask me, Rabbi Aharon already is going to smile like this when I start to say about it. That if people come in Gilgulim, a man goes through 5 reincarnations. What body wakes up? He went to 5 bodies, but with what neshama did he wake up?
Every time it comes back, it's a spark. It's not the same things. Do they get split or?
In Chazak u'Baruch. So, in Chazak u'Baruch, all the bodies come back. All the bodies wake up. Why? Because every body has his own neshama, and I'll explain why. Even though he comes back in a reincarnation, each one has his own neshama. Explanation. There could be a neshama that had to repair 100% of deeds. He repaired 60. 40 didn't repair. When he goes up after 120 years, what are they going to do with him? He repairs the majority of what he's supposed to do, but they can't let him in with his dirt. So either they send him to Gehenna, chas v'shalom, that's the option that man is given, or they split the neshama, they take all the good, make it an individual neshama and send it to Shamayim, to Gan Eden, and the bad, they send back to the world to repair. And that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's the kindness of Hashem that He makes the reparation easier.
When he does more bad.
Then that's already that piece, not the good.
So does it keep splitting into like a million pieces?
That's what it did. That's what happened. That's how one neshama became to millions.
So then at the end of the day, how do we clean up everything like at the end?
Each one is given a small spark.
Okay.
So your mission could have been very big, but your neshama came back and came back and came back, and each time it gets cut and cut and cut until your mission becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
But it's possible that someone might never fix it.
Why are you being negative, Tzaddik?
No, I'm just saying. No, people should know.
You have to be positive.
No,
Be'ezrat Hashem, we will all be in the right path. We will all do teshuvah. We will all have bracha. We will all have panasa. We will all find our zivug. Not we're doomed. Chas
No,
v'shalom.
people shouldn't think that there's unlimited opportunities to come back and fix it. That they could mess around this time and maybe the next.
Get up to the teshuvah. This is what we say the Gemara. Live your life regularly. Do whatever you want. But one day before you die, do teshuvah. One day before you die, do teshuvah. Who guarantees you that you're going to live tomorrow? So when are you going to do teshuvah? One day before you die. So we all guarantee we're going to live tomorrow? No. So let's do teshuvah today. Say it. No more questions? Can. Conversion is this I'm going to get from it. Conversion, it's like a newborn. When a person is born, when a person converts, it's like a child. New neshama. He's completely a newborn person. To the point, this is going to, where the halakha says that if a brother and sister convert, they could get married. Because they're no longer considered to be brother and sister. Because they receive new neshamot, and they become their own 2 individual. Their parents is the avot, is the ancestors. Their parents is Abraham and Sarah. That's why we say how do we call a convert?
Ben Avraham.
Whatever his name is, David ben Avraham. Why? He's the son of Avraham.
But in the past, conversion, when they're saying to themselves they're not converted yet, but they still feel like animals, or it's Hashem?
No. It's not that they view it animals. It's that Jews have a special fire, which is an neshama inside of them, and people that are not Jews don't have that special fire. Not chas v'shalom, we're looking lower. I don't like when people look lower, chas v'shalom. I don't like that at all. I'm very against that. Or when they say when the Geulah will come, what will happen to them? It's no, between me and you, they have a better chance of going to Gan Eden than us. Because they have 7 mitzvot to keep, we have 613. So if there's anyone that's in a bad situation, it's you, it's not them. They're fine. If they acted if they acted just like a regular human being, didn't kill, didn't steal, nothing, They will go to paradise like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and you will go to Gehenna because you didn't do Netilat Yadayim. So converts, they receive big merit. Converts, it's like a newborn. They receive a new neshama, and it's a new person. No, b'chavod.
So, on days that we're supposed to fast, what happens on those days? We're not eating and we're not able to sit and
We're starving both of them. Rabbi Aharon, sit now. Sit. We're starving both of them. Why are we starving both of them? Because both of them have a part in reparation. And I'll explain. Tisha B'Av. This is a Zohar, the Gemara that we mentioned in Masechet Shabbat, page Nun Hey, if I'm not mistaken. But there it says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was about to destroy Beit HaMikdash, he called angels. And what did he tell these angels? He told these angels, take 2 pens. One pen was full of blood, and the other pen was full of what? Of ink. The tzaddikim mark their forehead with ink. The reshaim mark their forehead with blood. And like that, when I send down Samael, Satan, he will know who to kill and who to keep alive. Tzaddikim he'll keep alive, and people that are not good, he'll get rid of. It says that the Satan came to Hashem and told Hashem, why are you making a difference between them? Why are you making a difference between tzaddikim and reshaim? You should get rid of all of them. So Hashem said, how can you compare? These are pure tzaddikim, only doing good, only helping each other, only studying Torah, only making sure, the pure, righteous people. And these are people killing, stealing. How can you compare? So he said, if those tzaddikim were such tzaddikim, why didn't they bring the reshaim back b'tshuva? Then if the people were so righteous, why didn't they bring the people that were far to repent? And that is the job of the neshama. The job of the neshama is to pull us to do good. And the fact that the neshama didn't pull us to do good, he's like the tzaddik. Even the neshama receives a pinch, that when we fast, we starve both of them.